It has been a beautiful fall here in the mountains, but the color is starting to fade. We've already seen a couple of snows.
And that has many people asking, what's winter going to be like this year? And who better to pose the question to than News 13 Chief Meteorologist Jason Boyer.
All right, Jason, pull out your crystal ball.
Yes.
What are you seeing as you look ahead to the winter months?
Let me tell you this. The answer is complicated, of course. There's El Nino, La Nina, there's the North Atlantic Oscillation, there's the Arctic Oscillation, there's even the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. Obviously, there are a lot of variables we look at, but some say if you pay close attention to nature, the signs are all around us.
Meet Perhatia isabella, also known as the woolly worm or woolly bear, depending on where you grew up. Their appearance this time of year is no coincidence.
Like when you see woolly worms and then they're really, really fuzzy if it's going to be a cold winter or not. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
People would point at it and say it'll be a particularly cold winter if the bands are one way or the other.
It's the dark bands that predict cold and snowy weather, while the brown ones mean mild weather. So, according to this random woolly worm, this winter is going to be mostly mild. But the official woolly worm forecast predicts something quite different. According to the winning woolly worm at the annual Woolly Worm Festival in Banner Elk, this coming winter will be cold and snowy.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. I don't put a whole lot of stock into it.
Observing woolly worms is just one weather lore that can be used to predict weather. Some are a bit unusual.
Like, if an onion's skin is thin, then a mild winter is coming in. If an onion's skin is thick and tough, the coming winter will be cold and rough. And that can leave a bad taste in your mouth.
So it begs the question, who came up with this stuff? We visited a local expert to explore where many of these weather lores originated.
I'll say the moon's a holding water, it's not going to rain.
If Connie's name sounds familiar, it should. She's been a weather spotter on News 13 for over 10 years, but weather has always been an interest to her.
Sunday afternoons, when you'd get together after church on somebody's front porch, they'd talk about the signs of the weather, this and that.
She says for past generations whose livelihoods depended on the weather, closely observing the changes in nature to predict patterns in it was essential.
They didn't have the instruments, so they had to watch nature to know about their crops, what was coming, how to prepare.
Technology has changed weather forecasting since then, and Connie blames consumer technologies like smartphones for the loss in interest of these traditional ways of forecasting.
Not many people watch the signs that the mountain people, my ancestors, did.
Connie says from her observations over the years, many of nature's signs are, on average, accurate 70% of the time.
I've been watching the squirrels and the chipmunks. They're really gathering the acorns.
And she says we've had a heavy load of acorns this year. So what is her prediction for this winter?
You may have a surprise this year.
So what does she mean exactly by that? Well, Connie's noticed that the corn silks were buried deeper this year, which is a good sign that the winter will be cold. And she also counted the number of foggy days in August. She says this will give you the number of snow days for the winter. And she tells me that every day this August had fog, so there's 31. Now there are literally hundreds of weather lures, and if you'd like more on them, we've set up a link on our website. Just go to WLOS.com. Connie's also working on a book which she hopes will preserve these lures so they won't be lost to future generations. It'll be titled How Mountain Folks Forecast Weather Before Doppler Radar. So look for it in the next.
I just have one question. The 2 snow days we've already had, do they count against the 31?
It's interesting. I don't think so. So you got to wait till the official beginning of now winter. Meteorological winter begins December 1st. Real winter December 21st. So we'll see.